Welcome to conference number 1, Knowledge of Oneself and its Objectives. We are the basis of our family. We are the platform of a whole society, of the company where we work at, even of the world. I mean, so many people look up to us and they rely on us. And any and every decision that we make every day, all the things that we do every day, creates new things, but it also destroys. So we have such a big responsibility that we have with ourselves. That's why it's so important for us to know ourselves deeply. Which are our bases? What do we rely on to make a decision? Okay, so having in mind that there are so many people that depend on us, any decision that we make, isn't it so unfair that we go and ask our parents' opinion? We ask our best friend opinion. I mean, we even go to a place to get our hand read and ask for an opinion because we don't even know what decision to make. So, I mean, that just can't be. I mean, our life can just be, just trying to make the best out of nothing at all. Okay, that's why here I invite you to stay. Give me at least half an hour, not for me to convince you, actually for me to teach you new things, because this is a program of 50 conferences where you're going to learn about your own self, learn about how your body works, learn about psychology. How does your mind work? Why does it make you do the things that it makes you do? Okay, we're going to learn about how to awaken our conscious. For that, we need to understand that we are made of 3 parts, and that these 3 parts, we must know them deeply. We must learn to know our physical body. We must learn to know our mind and our conscious. Unfortunately, our physical body and our mind, they don't coordinate. So if they don't even coordinate, we don't coordinate at all with our own conscious. How can we see this? I mean, it's very easy. For example, just because you have a degree, or just because a person has a degree doesn't mean that the person knows what he or she is actually doing. We could see it nowadays with this virus. People everywhere, I mean, the people who supposedly know more than anyone else, these scientists, and they don't even know how to explain to us what's going on. Okay, because someone is a doctor, it doesn't mean that at home they're taking good care of themselves. We see dentists with yellow teeth and everything. So not because somebody has a degree doesn't mean that they're that. Not because somebody is wealthy means that they know about business. Not because somebody is homeless means that they are a thief, right? Not because you look at your sexual body and you say, well, I'm a woman because I'm seeing that physical body looks like a woman, doesn't mean that I act like a lady or that I think like a woman or feel like a woman. The same happens with the opposite sex. So that's why our physical body is so disconnected from what it thinks. So that's why here we're going to be learning about 4 pillars. Those 4 pillars are going to take us to awaken our conscious. To awaken our conscious means to know ourselves deeply, to fully know our physical body. For that, we're going to see it in the pillar of science. So in science, we're going to learn about our chakras, for example. Where are those energy centers? What are they there for? How can we use them? How can I save energy for them to spin in the right way? That's what we're going to learn in that pillar. We're going to learn about universal laws. What things give us karma? Sometimes we have a specific situation that always happens to us. For example, with money, you could say, like, you get and you get money, but you never have money, because as soon as it comes, it just goes away, and you just can't be like able to save, and you're like, but what's this? I mean, why is it like this? Or in love, we see that some people are very lucky, and we're like, they have a perfect relationship, and they look so in love and so happy. But other people, they just can't. I mean, everything is perfect. They could have the perfect job, a perfect body, a perfect looking at it from the outside. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Everything looks like fine, like you could have whoever you want, but you have karma in love, or you have karma in an illness, but you don't understand why. So the karma, we can negotiate our karma, we can cancel it. If we learn about the universal laws, then we're going to prevent karma and at least understand what has happened to us and why, and how we can transcend these situations so it won't go to the rest of our descendants. Okay, so that's the importance of us knowing about these universal laws. We're going to learn about different practices for us to prove and see that there are other dimensions, that the world is not this thing that we see here, this third dimension. This third dimension is nothing compared to what there is really outside. So you're going to learn how to do an unfoldment. You're going to learn about meditation, transcendental meditation, how to do relaxation and concentration practices in order for you to do these activities well. Okay, so for instance, you have a plant at home. You water it every day, you sing to it, and you love your plant so much. But have you ever spoken to the being of that plant? Imagine one day you say, okay, I'm going to do this astral projection practice, right? And you lay down at home and you start doing your practice, and all of a sudden your astral body comes out and you're at home. So your astral body comes out, you go and see your plant, and when you're there with your plant, you find that it has a being. It's like a little kid. Usually they're blonde with blue eyes, and you see this kid there, and imagine it starts talking to you, and it tells you, like, thank you so much for watering me every day. I love it so much when you sing to me. And for that headache that you always have, if you take 3 of my leaves and you make a tea with it, it's going to make you feel so much better. I mean, your whole life is going to change when you come back. You're going to see your plant so different, and you're going to see everything. I mean, all the trees, all nature has a new sense. You have developed more love for nature, for other people, because now you're open-minded. You know that there's nothing really here in this third dimension, but only the same thing, get up every day, go to work, eat. But in that dimension, we can do so many other things. I mean, isn't it just amazing to talk to your own plant? Well, in this dimension, you could also travel in time. So we don't need to keep searching outside for answers that are inside us. Okay? So for example, you want to know if it's true that reincarnation exists. And in this practice, you could see who you were in a life before. And there you're going to understand so much this life, because since you saw your last life, you understand now what happens to you now, or why mom is the way she is, or why your father, your son, your brother is the way they are. So everything changes for us deeply when we could do an astral projection practice. Okay, so that's what we're going to see in the pillar of science. Okay, so we're based in 4 pillars, which are science, art, psychology, and mystic. So based in these 4 pillars is that we're going to be learning of our own self. Okay, this is not going to be like information I'm going to be giving you. No, here I'm going to be giving you the tools for you to apply them and see how everything really is. Okay, so let's see the pillar of art. In this pillar of art is sexuality. Here we're going to talk about sexual relationships. Okay, we teach a different way to have sex, which is an option. This option is for you to regenerate your own physical body. It makes you healthier, stronger. It expands your mind. It cleans your aura. You create the inner bodies, which we will talk about inner bodies in another conference. But you could do so many things with your own sexual energy. What's the difference? That here you're not going to ejaculate or have an orgasm, because those waters that come out are the ones that we're going to take in for us, and the body itself is going to regenerate itself. Okay, if for example, if you have seen bulls, those big bulls that they have a beautiful black fur and it's all shiny and they're all strong, well, the bulls, they put them a ring in their penis in order for them not to ejaculate their own energy, so they feed themselves from that energy. Also with the roosters, the ones that they put to fight, you see that they separate them for them not to be with the hens, because it's feeding itself from that energy. Also with players, like soccer players, you know, before a big match, they always take them away and they don't let them come out, and they tell them, you know, you're not allowed to have sex until after the match, not before. Why? Because they're going to be weaker. So that's what we're going to learn. How do we do this practice? It's very easy. Let me show you here. There we go. This practice, like any sex relationship that we have, there are kisses and caresses in order for the man to have a good erection and the woman to have a good lubrication. There is penetration, there are movements, everything is going fine and normal till here, right? Then there's a breathing process. This is the difference. We're going to stop and we're going to make a breathing process. So we're still there, connected, right? And in this breathing process, it's going to be of 3 steps. So we inhale, retain, and exhale. Each part, we should do it for 20 seconds. If you say, well, you know, I'm not able to breathe for 20 seconds, hold for 20 seconds, then it doesn't matter. Do it for 10 seconds. Inhale 10 seconds, hold it in for 10 seconds, and exhale for 10 seconds. Okay, how are we going to do this? So let me show you. We're going to inhale through our nose. The air goes into our lungs, goes down to our stomach, and it goes down to our sexual glands. Once that air is there at our sexual glands, we're going to retain that air, and we're going to visualize that from our coccyx, a golden thread is going to come up, and it goes straight right through our spine. That golden thread is going to come up and be here, and gets here between the eyebrows. Once that golden thread is there, we exhale with the mantra E. Again, inhale through your nose, The air goes to our lungs, goes down to our stomach, goes down to our sexual glands. Once it's there, we hold that air in, okay? And we visualize how a golden thread is going to come from our coccyx and it's going to start going up right through our spinal cord until it gets here between the eyebrows. Once it's here, we exhale with the mantra, ah. Again, we inhale through our nose. The air goes into our lungs, goes to our stomach, down to our sexual glands. Once that air is there, we hold that air in and visualize that from our coccyx, a golden thread is going to start coming up, straight right through our spine, till it gets here between the eyebrows. Once that air is here, we exhale with the mantra, oh. There we have done the practice once. We continue doing this breathing process as much as we can. If you notice that the man is losing erection, or if the woman is losing satisfaction, then you go back to the point of kisses and caresses and movements, okay? Remember, be always looking at your body, okay? And knowing if you're close to having an orgasm or ejaculating, because the success of this practice is that there is no orgasm and no ejaculation, okay? So once you find that you're close but not so close to that point, again, you go to that breathing process. How do you know that you're finished? Very easy. Because you're going to notice that in the man, there is no more erection. In the woman, there is no more sexual desire, okay? In the man, there is very obvious because you can see that he didn't ejaculate and that his body really took his waters and regenerated his body with it, okay? This way, it's how we awaken the Kundalini from our own sexual energy, okay? Things that we have to keep in mind for this practice, and it's very important, okay? First of all, you must have a stable partner, okay? Stable means that it must be always with that person. In case that you have been doing this practice with someone and you guys break up, you must wait at least a year in order to do this practice again with somebody else, okay? Because here we're magnetizing the body, so the two bodies are being magnetized, so that's why you have to wait for the bodies to dismagnetize and then practice with somebody else's energy, okay? So that is one. Second of all, it must be two persons of the opposite sex, a man and a woman. Why? Because here we're talking about alchemy, okay? So we need two different poles to be put together in order to make this creation. We don't do this practice when the woman has her period, when she's feeding, or she's pregnant, or if one of the two is sick, okay? Very sick. Then you won't do the practice. After the practice, you mustn't take a shower until 2 hours after this practice, okay? Because since the body is inside, it's hot because of this practice, then to avoid, you mustn't take a shower before that, okay? We'll continue going deeper into these topics, okay? We'll talk about this again. We'll see how this practice is done again, so don't worry. And if you have any questions, you can write to me, and of course I'm going to answer you. So this is our pillar of art. Our third pillar is psychology. I put this in the opposite way? Sorry, guys. No time to fix it. So, in our pillar of psychology, we're going to learn to know our mind. How does it work? Why does it work that way? Okay, get to know our and understand our own needs. Okay, because we want and we expect other people to make us happy, and isn't that so unfair? Because we can't even make ourselves happy, but we expect somebody else to make us happy, and we leave that person that responsibility, like, well, you're the one who have to make me happy, you're the one who has to give me things and make me feel important. But that's not the way it is. That's not how it works. So it's my own responsibility to take care of my own self and be able to look inside me and find which are those needs. Where do those needs come from? Why are they there? When they begin? What do they want? How do they feed themselves from my own wrong way of being? Okay? So for this, to know our own selves, we're going to do it with the psychological death. So this psychological death is the one that is going to teach us to eliminate our wrong ways of being. It's going to teach us to know ourselves, to observe ourselves and know things that we didn't know from our own selves, for example. So for instance, imagine that there's a woman. She's the only woman in her house, and she lives with her husband and her son that is a teenager. She arrives home and she opens a drawer and she sees a watch, but it's a woman's watch, and it's of gold and it has a diamond. And she's like, so depending to the person's psychology, it's going to have different options. So for example, if I'm there, well, not me, but the person there, let's say she's a very jealous person. So right away, what is this person going to imagine? Oh my God, she's going to go right to her bedroom and she's going to look at her bed. She's going to start looking to see if there's a stain. What does it smell like? She's going to be looking at her couple like mysterious, like, you are doing something here while I wasn't at home. If she doesn't make a whole big scandal out of it, okay? That's if the person is jealous. If she's an overprotective mom, then she's going to worry about her son and she's going to start thinking different things, and she's going to say, oh my God, maybe he has a girlfriend and I didn't even know, and he's bringing her here when I'm not here. Or if she has a self that it's always thinking about stealing, she's going to start thinking like, oh my God, my son stole this watch. I mean, when did he start doing this? Oh my God. So you see that any of those three things are real? We don't know where the watch came from, but even though, depending to the person's psychology, he's going or she's going to make his own movie, because that's what it is. Okay, and we're going to start suffering. Another option is that this person is used to being loved so much by others, okay, and her husband is always special with her and gives her many things. So when she finds this watch in the drawer, she's going to think that it's a present for her, and she's going to be like thinking, but when is our anniversary? Is it my birthday? What are we celebrating? And she's going to be there expecting that any time now he's going to come and he's going to give her that watch. Okay, so many things can happen, but which one is real? We don't know which one is real. Okay, that's why we need to observe ourselves, observe our own psychology, so that we can stop making so many bad decisions, thinking things that are not right, and having so many expectations about things, and then being so hopeless about it because, you know, it was just a dream. So how are we going to do this? We're going to be observing our mind always, okay? So for example, the jealous lady, as soon as she finds that watch, and right in her head, oh my God, he has somebody else. So immediately I spotted that I have a jealous eye. So there I'm going to tell my divine mother to eliminate that jealous way of being that I have. It's a jealousy defect. So I ask my divine mother, you know, eliminate that jealous defect. Another thing comes to my mind. No, I have to go to the bedroom and I have to go check. So again, I ask my divine mother, you know, eliminate this way of being that has the need to go and prove something that is not real. So I just keep watching my mind. Then another defect is going to come and it's going to tell me, you know, stop being dumb. So I'm going to ask my divine mother, you know, kill this defect that tells me that I'm dumb. So there I keep on eliminating all the defects that come into my mind. This way I'm starting to make those ways of being weaker, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop being a jealous person. So that is just one step, that is the psychological death. Another thing that we teach is the reflective meditation, where I'm going to sit down and I'm going to start studying my own psychology, my own ways of being. So I put the title there, and my title is going to be about jealousy. So why is it the first thing that I think that the person has somebody else? Okay, so I'm going to be really honest with myself, because I'm scared to be alone. Okay, so since I'm scared to be alone, the first thing that comes into my mind is that they have somebody else and they're going to leave me. So there I found something. Or because my father cheated on my mother, or because my last couple cheated on me, or because I have a self inside me that even though I don't cheat on my couple, mentally I do, because mentally I like to be looking at the watch, and I know that my neighbor, which I think is so hot, always comes out at 10 in the morning to go to the gym. So every day at 10 in the morning I go out to take the garbage, but it's just because I want to see him. Though nothing happens, I am being unfaithful mentally. So the way I think is the way I see things. So I start writing all of these things down. So I start asking myself like WH questions, you know, what, when, where, why, who, how often. So that's how I'm going to be knowing myself better. Once I have these answers, I'm going to start asking my divine mother to eliminate those ways of being, because that is not me. Okay, that is not part of my conscious. This is from my ego. This is actually there, you know what? This is what's destroying my relationship. This is why we have problems, because all the time with any little thing, I mean, he gets a message on his phone and right away I'm there jumping, trying to see who it is. We're in the car and he just turns and I'm there. Who's so there? I notice that, you know, I suffer. It gives me sufferment. Besides that, it gives me sufferment, I make the other person feel uncomfortable. And thanks to this, you know, this person is innocent and I'm the one who maybe is getting this person upset. Okay, so there I start learning and giving and knowing the reasons why and how do I provoke certain situations. So that's what we're going to learn in the pillar of psychology. So we'll keep going deeper and deeper in this psychological theme. And last but not least, we have our last, there we go. We have our last pillar, that is mystic. So In mystic, like the word says, it's like mysterious. In mystic, it's the sum of all the other pillars. Okay, that's what it is. Mystic is love, the new love that I develop. How did I develop that new love? With the astral projection practice that we were talking about, I develop more love for nature, for all human beings. So I am a more mystical person because there is real mysticism in me. So there is love for all mankind. Okay. In the pillar of supersex, there I develop love for my own body, love for myself, for regenerating me as a self, for knowing my sexuality. We'll go deeper on those topics. Okay. And in psychology, of course, I develop more love. I develop more love for myself because I'm starting to know my own needs. I am not putting my needs on somebody else's hands. I am taking care of my needs. So I am fulfilling my own self. I am fooling myself on love. And then I'm not going to have that need of love. Okay, I'm not going to have that hole inside me that always needs attention and that always needs to be called. No, I'm going to have so much love that I am able to really give love to others. Okay, so that's what mystic is about. It's going to be to generate that force of love inside me, okay, with my own experience, with my own learning. I'm going to start opening my own spiritual path and start following that path. So I'm going to become my own guide. Our objectives. What are the objectives of these 50 conferences? Are, first of all, the self-realization of the being. What's the self-realization? What we saw at the beginning, to fully get to know our conscious as a full. Okay, if I understand and I know how my body works, if I have cleared my mind, taken out all of those wrong ways of being, I am fully able to see myself as a being. I'm a conscious person. Right now, I'm an unconscious person because I ignore many things about myself. I'm going to regenerate my own body. Okay, I'm going to release all of my consciousness through the psychological death. I'm going to create the superior existential bodies of the being. Okay, I told you a little bit before that we have 7 bodies. We're going to create, by that super sex practice, these 7 bodies, which we will go deeper into those bodies in these conferences. I'm going to learn about the universal laws. I'm going to know the superior dimensions. So I'm going to achieve a sacred spirituality. Okay, those are the objectives of our conferences. Guys, you're fully invited. The conferences are always going to be like this, really complete about each topic. You guys can make any questions that you have. And, well, I don't find any questions here. But here you're going to find that every Sunday we're going to be having different practices. This morning we had astral travel practice and the conference hours later. So every Sunday you're going to find in this channel live conferences, and also on Saturday my partner Margarita also gives conferences on Saturday. Okay, so be looking at our events so you can join and be with us. Guys, thank you very much for watching.